I think for me, I've always chosen workplaces where I could be out. I think it was very important to me not to have to live a double life. So having finished college, I went and moved into the community voluntary sector. Now I work within the trade union movement. So that's been a very freeing experience, and I couldn't imagine not being able to be out in my workplace. Albeit that at times I will still choose who I come out to, because a lot of people don't realise that coming out is not just a once-off event. It's an everyday experience. Every time you meet someone new, or new work colleagues, or new people that you're engaging with through work, you have to decide whether or not you're going to come out to them and gauge what their reaction might be. So I've never had any difficulties in work, but partly is probably because I've chosen sectors where I feel I can be myself. I did have an incident in the 90s where myself and my then partner had booked into a bed and breakfast in Fermanagh for the weekend, and we were really looking forward to it. It was a weekend away. We drove down and we'd booked a double room. I made the booking on the phone. It was probably, I don't think they were quite on internet at that stage, and got there, and when they realised it was two women, they went, "Oh, I'm sorry, we must have made a mistake. We can give you a twin room." And we said, "No, no, 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 we've booked a double room. We're a couple. We'd like a double room." And they got very, very flustered, and anyway ended up putting us in a family room. So it was obviously to kind of assuage their conscience, that we might stay in separate beds, rather than put us in a double room where we would sleep possibly together and get up to no good. And obviously there was no law then. Now if that happened, we could insist under the goods and facilities regulations that we had an entitlement to the room that we had booked if it was available, because it's different. It wasn't that we arrived and there'd been a mix-up and there was no double room available. Our double room was there, it was designated to us, but we were not given it. So I think it's really good now that people, we still got to stay in the bed and breakfast. They didn't say, no, we're not, unlike couples I think in England who have been refused altogether. But they did put us in the family room, which was quite insulting, really. We thought it was quite funny, we'd laughed about it, but actually when I look back at it now, it was actually quite insulting, because we were treated differently because of our sexual orientation, because we were a gay couple. If it had been my brother and his wife, they would have been given the room that they had requested. So I'm glad to see that the laws have changed, and I hope that people, gay couples and gay people, won't put up with a different level of service just because of their sexual orientation. I think one of the main reasons I applied to become an Equality Commissioner was that I really valued the work that they did, and I could see how legislative change does lead to behavioural change and cultural change, albeit it's slower. But if you don't have the legislative change, then you have your carrot and your stick. People who are okay about gay and lesbian people and are very accepting, they don't need the legislation in terms of to influence their behaviour. But those who are less accepting or ignorant or downright discriminatory, they need the legislation. And I felt that the Equality Commission played a really, really strong role, both in terms of legislative reform, but also then promoting how people can use that legislation to be better, whether you're an employer or a service provider. So I applied to the Equality Commission really so I could make a difference, and I could bring the voice of lesbian, gay and bi and transgender people to the table, to the boardroom, to make sure that I could influence the strategy. And I think what's been most gratifying for me being an Equality Commissioner is, while it's on my blog on the Equality Commission that I am an out lesbian, and I've been an activist for many years, the other commissioners have taken up a range of roles in terms of promoting lesbian and gay rights. They have spoken at Pride. It's not, oh, there's a gay event coming up, let's send Fidelma. I think other commissioners have been very equally strong advocates for to improve the experience of lesbian, gay, bi and trans people out in Northern Ireland.